Now for the back, I'm still going to continue from where I stopped for the front. So I'll just extend this margin. I'll extend the margin. I'll extend the armhole line. Okay, so I will have a straight line. I'm going to create another point. From my margin, I'm creating my 9 inches. Remember? Then for my back length now is what? 15 inches. So I'll mark that 15 inches around here also, so I have a straight line. Okay, so I'll just square these two. Square these 2 points. Then I want to know the area I'm going to occupy when making this. You know, the area we occupied here is for the front. Let's see, so that you get what I'm saying. The area we occupied here is about 9.5 inches. So you can still do the same 9.5 inches, but don't do that because there will be some truing. So you want to leave some space. So let me work with 11 inches. Let me work with 11 inches. So from 11, this is the space I want to work with. Space of 11 inches from my sideline here. Okay, I don't know, or you can just easily drop your ruler and create a straight line that you know will contain your measurements. Okay, I'm just trying to create a box that will contain my measurements. So after creating that box, we move. The first thing you want to do, just like we did at the front, you mark your shoulder measurement divided by 2 on the shoulder line. Then you come down to the armhole line and mark your shoulder measurement divided by 2 also. So you're going to square the line just like we did for the front. So you square up the line. Now if you notice, we didn't include our bust line. Yes, because it's not needed. Now on this line we have created, just like we did to the front, you're going to do your shoulder slant. Okay, do your shoulder slant, look for the midpoint, come in by 1/2 inch. Yes, I do 1/2 inch for front and back. Then come on your armhole line and look for your bust measurement divided by 4. Put it down. Then you create your curve. Okay, just watch this video again. You will get this very well. This is so simple. Okay, I've created my curve for the back. Now we face our armhole, our neckline. Now remember what we did for the front. 3 inches width. Make sure you maintain this 3 inches width for both the front and the back. You can vary in your length. You can do any other thing you want for the length. This is because you want to match up your shoulder seam. Your shoulder seam should be the same with the back. For the front and the back should be the same. Okay, so I'll make sure I make use of what I mark for the front, 3 inches, and I can decide to change the length. Let me do 4 inches for the length. So I'm creating a square just like we did before. So I'm creating a square just like we did before, as you can see, and I'm going to create my neckline from this. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's upside down. I didn't watch that close. Okay, then I'm going to slant this down. I'm going to create a slant. So at the end of the day, your front side shoulder seam should match up with your back shoulder seam. So I have 5 inches for the 2. Now the next thing you're going to do now is to find your dart, just like we did for the front. The same step. So before the dart, we looked for our measurement, that's our bust measurement on the waistline. We looked for it on the armhole line. We already looked for it on the armhole line. So I'm going to just square that up. I'm going to just square that up. Okay. Right. Can you see that? Okay. So now we look for the bust span, 4 inches and 4 inches. You square that up and you are going to create your darts the same way we did for the back, for the front. What am I saying back? So we mark your waist measurement divided by 4. Whatever the difference is, you're going to share it here between the darts. So if the difference of yours is much, you can decide to share it between the front and the back. You give the front a bigger dart, then give the back a smaller dart. Because the difference between mine is not much. Mine is 1.5 inches. If it's up to 2 inches, I would be doing a dart intake of 3 inches for the front, then give my back just 1 inch, because it's the front that needs the darts. The back does not have anything to do with that. Does not have anything to do with bust. So you give more of the dart to the front. So if the difference between yours is much, you can decide to shuffle it between the front and the back. Now, if there is no difference at all, yes, I had this in mind to tell us, if there's no difference between your waist and your bust, or maybe even the waist itself is more than the bust, then mark your bust, or mark your waist measurement, whatever. Let's say my own waist measurement now is 9.5. Then I'm going to include that intake. Now, there's a particular amount of that, depends on the person's bust. So in this case, if your waistline is much more than the bust line, that means the bust is smaller, right? So 1 inch should work, or 1.5 at most should work for the dart intake. So what you just do is include that 1 inch dart intake on the side seam. Okay, let me illustrate this with the front. You include that 1 inch intake on the side seam like so. You square it up to the armhole, then you do your dart intake. I hope you get this. Okay, so let's continue. I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch or 1 inch, depends. I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch from my armhole line. This will help me not to have shortage on the armhole area, okay, on the armhole line. Because if I exceed my darts towards the armhole, by the time I sew this dart, it's likely to affect the measurements of the armhole area. So therefore, we square up. So I'll do my dart legs. See that? So there's still other things we're going to moderate in this pattern. So let's continue. Don't mind the lines. Don't mind. No, this is a mistake. Don't mind. We have plenty lines everywhere. Okay. So that's why it's good to mark with my pencil first. I don't know why I went to go and mark my marker. Let's continue drawing. So the next thing you're going to do now is to create your back curve. Now look at your back. Take a good look at anybody that is close to you. Their back. You find out that it is not straight. Before the hip occurs, there's a curve, right? That curve, we're going to create it. Now, to create that curve, this is what we do. You come in by half inch or 1 inch on the waistline. Depends on how curvy the person is, but 1 inch usually works for everybody. Or you can go 3/4. So it depends on the one you want to work with. So let's work with 1 inch. I'll work with 1 inch, then I'll still you're working with 1 inch. Can you see that? Then we're still going to come to the upper area to know where we'll stop. You don't know where to connect this now, but so to know where you stop, you're going to measure whatever you had for your midpoint of your armhole. Okay, whatever you got there from your shoulder line, that's what you measure on the center back. I have 5 inches. I'll measure that on the center back. Then that's where I will stop. Okay, this is approximately where your shoulder blade, there's what they call the shoulder blade at your back. That's where it starts from. That's where the curve of your back begins, approximately. Okay, so at this point, we are going to remove this. This is no longer where my center back will be. My center back starts from this line. Now, if you watch, we have shortened our measurement now. We have to put it back, if not, there will be shortage. So whatever I have removed here, I'm going to put it back. So I'll measure from my new line. This is now my new line. I'll measure from there. I'll add extra 1 inch to it, or whatever I have before, 9.5. I'll measure from the new line and add it up. So I have 9.5, I'll add it up. So you can see where the new 9.5 is now. So this is where our measurements should be. Our new measurements will now be. So I'll check here. Did anything remove on the armhole line? Something removed though. We have about 1/2 inch that removed there. So I'm going to be 1/4. Okay, 1/4. 1/4 of an inch removed there. So I'm going to add it up here. Very, very important. Please do well to do this. Now you square up the line again. You're going to square up the line again. This becomes your new line. This is no longer your line again for the side seam. So at this point, we have created our curve for the back. So if you still watch this area, you see some shortage. So just create your curve back. Just a little small thing. There's no big difference, okay? Create your curve back. So if you do this curve for the back, there's no how you have gaping. That kind of stuff you have at the back where the zip will now be having one kind folding. It will not happen. This will eliminate such problem.